This is Preondactylus, the very first creature that actually left the ground and got away with it. Small, sharp-toothed, banana-weight, but already flying. And this lizard, that's his ancestor. It's still crawling around, totally unaware that in a few million years, evolution's going to hand it something it never asked for: wings. Back then, tiny archosaurs were hopping across sand dunes, munching insects, and napping in family piles under the shade until they all got buried in it. That's when it hit. Something had to change because size, as it turns out, really does matter. But what could possibly drive a reptile into the sky? And more importantly, how the hell did they pull it off? To answer that, we need to rewind back to the furnace of the Triassic. This is Scleromochlus. 250 million years ago, he was sprinting across what is now Scotland. Back then, it wasn't all misty hills and men in kilts without underwear. It was heat and sand. Nothing else. He was frog-sized, looked like a jerboa. Half his body was tail, and he jumped like a kangaroo. So, where the hell is the bird in all this? Turns out Scleromochlus, despite looking like a regular lizard, was holding the key to flight. He shared a bunch of traits with Pterodactylus: shoulder blades with long bony struts for anchoring flight muscles, 4 toes, a lightweight head, boxy hips, and stubby shins. Not exactly a pilot, but his body plan was the blueprint that made flying dinosaurs even possible. He was just a mid-tier predator, mostly snacking on insects, or being someone else's snack. To be honest, if evolution had taken a different path, he could have become the Loch Ness Monster and been featured in blurry photos taken by crazy idiots. But land predators were getting nastier, and bouncing around on long legs just wasn't cutting it anymore. That's when evolution started thinking, maybe flight isn't just a party trick, maybe it's the only way out. But the question is, how do you fly without wings? Let's be honest, learning to fly is stupidly difficult. But it's impossible to do it just like that. You need to have some kind of foundation. So what distinguished the ancestors of pterosaurs from others? Scientists have 3 theories as to why dinosaurs began to fly. The tree-down theory is that the ancestors of pterosaurs lived in trees and moved around by jumping from branch to branch. According to this theory, these small creatures had something like membranes on their front legs that allowed them to glide short distances. Over millions of years, these membranes could have developed into wings, allowing them to travel long distances. Other scientists suggest that the ancestors of pterosaurs did not jump, but fell. This is called the wooden parachute theory. That is, they climbed trees like modern lizards and then jumped down when danger threatened. Most likely, they had a membrane between their limbs that grew larger and larger until it led to wings. There is little sense in these actions, as most of them died, so that future generations could learn to fly. And the third theory brings us back to our Scleromochlus, the theory of terrestrial evolution of pterosaurs. Our little Scleromochlus ran, screamed, and jumped until it learned to fly. It's like a turbo chicken. The hind limbs were already developed, so it was time to develop the front ones. Scientists suggest that pterosaurs became quadrupeds because of their weight of their wings. If they didn't catch themselves, they would simply hit their heads on the ground. So, yeah, pterosaurs were like drunk friends in deep shit. But then something scary happens. The 4th finger starts to grow. At first it looks strange, but then a wing appears between it and the body. It's still not flying, but you can't call it jumping either. So just running and jumping wasn't enough. Those who planned further and better survived, as did those with stronger wing membranes, and evolution will soon do the rest. The end of the Triassic period, Eudimorphodon, is one of the oldest known pterosaurs. It had a wingspan of over 3 feet, weighed 10 kgs, and had 110 sharp teeth. Why did it need such teeth? To make it easier to chew food. Millions of years of eating insects took their toll, and then fish appeared in their diet. So evolution solved this problem elegantly by giving them more teeth. There was another predator around at the same time, Preondactylus. Not to be confused with pterodactyl, okay? Its wings were smaller, only 50 centimeters, which most likely indicated that it had recently learned to fly. And proportionally, they were smaller than those of later pterosaurs. It is generally known as the most primitive of the pterosaurs, which is somewhat insulting to it. Even then, similar features had already formed. Long tails with a diamond-shaped bone for stabilization in flight, a diet of fish and insects, and the ability to defecate in flight. This is what they were like for the first 100 million years of their existence. Not very interesting, and not as fierce as their successors, but they were already potentially dangerous. But if everything worked, why change anything? For millions of years, they lived perfectly with huge heads, wings, and teeth. They were the lords of the sky. Until they appeared. Those damn birds. Birds appeared at the end of the Jurassic period, about 160 million years ago. They and pterosaurs coexisted for about 60 million years. And after birds evolved, pterosaurs decided it was time to become truly dangerous flying reptiles. Due to their similar diets, birds and pterosaurs competed with each other. Pterosaurs were unable to compete with the more agile and mobile birds, so they made a decision similar to that of any guy who has been dumped by his girlfriend, to become bigger. Their size ensured their dominance in niches where birds could not reach them, such as flying over the vast ocean in search of food. But back then, the oceans, as they are now, were gigantic. To hunt real delicacies, pterosaurs had to fly thousands of miles, and he was capable of doing that. Pteranodon is a completely new species of pterosaur, majestic, menacing. The Earth had never seen anything like it. Some people call it a pterodactyl, but only losers do that. But no matter what you call it, the fact remains that it was a real killing machine. Its wingspan was 7 meters, and its body length was 6 meters. Pteranodon was a super predator and terrorized everyone in 3 dimensions. In the water, on land, and with absolute dominance in the sky. It fed on fish, diving straight into the ocean like a cormorant. But surprisingly, its name translates as wing and toothless. It did not have the fierce teeth of its ancestors, but it did have a much stronger beak. Pteranodon was also one of the largest flying creatures ever found, until it was discovered. Quetzalcoatlus. Huge, fucking huge. The exact wingspan is unknown due to a lack of material, but it is estimated to be around 15 meters. Quetzalcoatlus lived in North America, which is why it was named after the supreme god of the Aztecs. They would have liked such a god, majestic, mysterious, and toothless. What's more, this creature could easily terrorize tyrannosaurs and other predators. With one blow of its 2-meter beak, it could easily gouge out a T-Rex's eye. These monsters circled above their competitors and pecked them to death, leaving their terrestrial predators no chance. After the battle was over, usually in favor of Quetzalcoatlus, they would finish off their prey like true vultures. Pterosaurs weren't dinosaurs, but they shared the world with them and filled the sky. Their evolution proved that you don't have to be smart to survive and dominate. You just need to get what others don't have. And that was wings. In pop culture, pterosaurs are depicted as killing machines that look down on dangerous predators from above. But it all started with a tiny lizard that just wanted to jump better to survive. Because the sky is free. There is only wind, size, and power. And the only rule is not to fall. Unfortunately, this rule did not save the pterosaurs from extinction when an asteroid struck 60 million years ago. Birds, thanks to their small size and modest appetite, survived. Perhaps, if it weren't for their size, we would still see pterosaurs in our skies. But in any case, evolution made dinosaurs fly over hundreds of millions of years. Humans learned to fly in 300,000 years. Evolution sucks.